I'm gradually going to use the American email more than my personal email.
Okay.
Because it's more secure.
Yes.
I'm a fourth degree black belt.
Congratulations.
I passed that black belt exam.
Well, what does that mean? I don't know how those degrees work.
Oh. Well, when you get in martial arts, you start with a white belt and you work all the way up. And it takes about 4 years or so, or 5 years to get to black belt. And I always tell my students what a first degree black belt means is very similar to being an RVP. Okay, very similar. Or being a captain in the Army. A lieutenant in the Army. A lieutenant in the Army. Means you're dangerous when you can do stuff, but you really don't know all there is to know. You can be taught, is what it basically.
You got to learn this up your bit.
Yeah. You know the basics. The first degree black belt, you got the first, you know the basic degree.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And then second degree, see, as you move up, you do more teaching, and you're teaching others. So, it's like going to Sunday school. If you're just sitting in Sunday school and you're listening to somebody talk, that's one thing. When you're teaching Sunday school, you have to really know the material. And so, in martial arts, that's what. So I have my kids, my students, start teaching the whole time, right away. Yeah. So they get used to teaching. Because you have to think differently about something to teach it than you do to actually do it. You have to break it down to a way so that the person can learn how to do it. And so, but anyway, to go from first grade to second grade, you have to wait 1.5 years minimum. And then from second to third, you have to wait 2.5 years. Meaning to go from third to fourth, I had to wait at least 3.5 years. Well, I waited for 4 years to go to fourth. And so now I got to wait 4.5 years, go to fifth, and 5.5 years to go to sixth. And at sixth, I'll be a master.
Okay. That was my next question. I need to read on.
Oh, that's not the top though. Oh. 9 of them.
9.
I'll never see 9. But I'll be 71 when I get to sixth.
Yeah, you got it.
So, but that's a master. That's high enough. And you have to be at least a third. You have to be at least a third to run your. Okay.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm. I have a client that's been dying of he's had stage 4.
Mm-hmm. Which one? Prostate.
Prostate cancer.
Mm-hmm.
He's had stage 4 for at least 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken every treatment they have out there. And as a matter of fact, he's really going downhill. He had cancer in 7 lymph nodes last time they tested him. Normally you're dead with 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but now they're using experimental stuff on him. Scott Pinker, well, I thought everybody knew. How I heard about it is that Deborah Williams came down to my turkey shoot.
Yeah.
And she told me, because up until then I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
She said that in September, he started feeling a little pain in his abdomen.
Mm-hmm.
He said on a scale of 1 to 10, here's a 1.
Yeah, right. Nothing.
No big deal.
Right.
So he lived with it for a while, but then he got to the point where he couldn't sleep at night. It was uncomfortable.
Just nagging it.
Yeah.
Right.
So he went and checked out, and it turned out he's stage 4, liver and kidney cancer.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's going to treatment here.
Oh.
So it's a shock because I don't know.
Got Pinkard?
Yeah, Scott Pinker. That's
Mike Crawford.
That's Crawford. His health isn't much better.
No.
Mike Crawford's under Scott Pinker, didn't he?
No, Mike Crawford is direct to Kip, and so is Scott.
Okay.
All those guys are direct to Scott. I mean, to Kip.
We can go on feel well and see your team.
Yeah.
I'm kind of proud of my
Couple
problem with the liver is it regenerates so quickly that by the time you feel anything from your liver acting up, it's frequently late.
Oh, well. Actually, the worst thing you can do is, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but cancer loves sugar.
Yeah.
And drinking is alcohol's full of sugar. So you want to, if you have anything after you go on a ketogenic diet, you want to get as much sugar in your body as possible because it lives on it.
I learned as a pastor that cancer likes healthy coaches.
Oh, it does.
Young people, very healthy young people, can get cancer, and he did it in 6 months. Whereas if they had got it 30 years later, they might go through.
That's why I stay fat and obese.
And
And
so easy. I've been almost working out for nothing. That's right. Actually, our pastor just got diagnosed with cancer. Our new one, Tommy Ross, Memphis pastor. He was diagnosed with. We've only had him less than 6 months. He's like 38 years old. He was diagnosed with leukemia. Let's talk about the other big news that happened this week.
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, totally unexpectedly announced there would be 3 rate cuts next year. Okay. Now, let me put it true. I don't know if y'all follow financial news. But, I mean, the day before, the whole world was saying, I heard the analysts and all these smart guys saying, hey, no, we're not going to have a rate reduction. If we do have one, it'll be late, or we're going to have to go through something significant before we do have one. Yeah, the whole world was saying, no, we're not going to have a rate reduction. But I've been telling my clients, I even told her, that we'll have a rate cut next April. It actually is going to be March. But
I'll hold my breath.
It will. You're going to have 3 rate cuts. You're not going to do anything about it until
refi.
We're not going to do anything about it until July. But
they're going to be flooded with the home refis.
Well, no, still not refis. So currency will pick up because people will be able to buy a house with it's a psychological thing. If you can buy a house with a 7 or 8%, a 7 or 8 number on it, that doesn't sound, but if it has a 6 on it or like high 5, you might win. And that's what you can be able to get. A high 5, low 6.
By the way, our account executive, Jim Lovin, and I were talking a couple 3 weeks ago. He said that the overall average mortgage rate for the past, whatever it is, it's like 5.6, 5.8.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do you mean the average? What is
average mortgage rate?
What period of time?
Over the past like 100 years.
Oh, 100 years.
Yeah, over.
Oh, yeah. But I'm saying anybody that bought a house in the last 20 years.
My parents were at 16%.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, my first house I bought my very first house I bought was March of 1988, and I got an 8%. Actually, I got an ARM.
Yeah.
It took him 30 years to pay up a $41,000 mortgage.
I know.
Because that's what it was.
$350 a month payment though.
Okay,
and you know, $350 house payment. Who'd want to pay that off?
That's right.
I know.
It's like me. My house payment is somewhere around, I think, like $2,800, $2,600. Well, I have 2 sons that have 1-bedroom apartments. One in Orlando, they're paying $1,500 a month each just to live in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
I'm $1,000 a month for my house payment. And it just went up and it ticked me off.
And so I'm paying less than it probably costs to live in a 2-bedroom apartment or a 3-bedroom apartment to live in that house. Yep. So, but when I bought it, it was paying that at first. It was. But anyway, so let's talk about the rate reductions. So Jerome Powell's going to probably raise rates. Everyone seems to think that the first rate reduction will be March 2024. About a 90% chance that'll happen in March 2024. Some people think there'll be as many as 6 rate reductions next year. But I think it's really a high chance 3. There'll be one in March, another one in May or June, another one in July or August. And the world's saying 3/4 of a point down. I think it's going to be at least 1 point down. I think it's going to be
For all 3? Like 2 quarters?
No, it'd be like a quarter. It'd be probably like a half, a quarter. Down each time. I think that's probably what's going to happen. So, what does that mean for us? It means a lot of really positive things. it means I have a really good chance to go to a $200 million investment.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the investment side. For years, especially last year, I had all my clients' money in the floating rate fund. And it did well. Did you see where it's done so far?
It's gone up.
It's like 10.5%, over 10.5% this year for the year. So it made good money, and it's still going up. But I've already started talking to my clients that we're going to go back into the MEMAW fund.
Mm-hmm. Is EIX?
Finally, it's going to be worthwhile to go back into MEMAW.
Good.
Okay. Matter of fact, I had breakfast this week with the Invesco wholesalers, Matt, and then when I met with him on Tuesday morning, he had a friend with him, and he told me that we're not going to have him after the first year as our wholesaler anymore. We're going to have a guy from Florida that's wholesaler.
Go through them like candy, don't they?
Well, they rearranged the territories. He'd been flying down from Ohio. He lives in Ohio. He flies down from Ohio down here. So now he's got Ohio and Kentucky. And the guy that had Florida and South Georgia now had all of Georgia. And so we got him. But anyway, I had breakfast with them. And so now that they're going to reduce rates, I said, it sounds like now it's going to be a good opportunity for us to go back to, ACIX.
Mm-hmm.
That equity and income fund, for those that aren't familiar with it, is typically a 60-40 fund. 60% stocks and mainly value stocks, and then 40% fixed income. So I think that fund will really be a great place to put your clients with not a lot of risk. The equity income fund has a 0.7 beta. 0.7 beta. So it's 30% less risky than the stock market, but has outperformed the stock market, S&P, since 1960. So it's a good place to go.
So you're moving all of it out of.
Not all at once.
Not all at once.
No.
Dollar cost average again.
No. So I'll probably move 10, 20% at a time until I get it all over. Because the floating rate's going to make you money. I was wondering when they made that announcement if all of a sudden I was going to see the floating rate the other way the next day. And they didn't. Another thing that will do well is high yield corporates, high yield corporate bonds.
The AMHYX?
Yeah, and with HYX. Yeah, we'll look at some of those here in a minute. And then also a thing to put your clients into with a little bit more risk is small and mid cap value funds. They'll do the best, but they're most volatile.
VSCAX,
SMEX, OE.
That's growth, isn't it? Small growth.
That's blend. SMEAX, SMEX. And then OEGIX is a mid cap growth. There's also mid cap value, I can't remember. VSCLAX.
The Value Opportunity Fund? Well, that's a large cap, isn't it?
VSLAX. What is that?
VSLAX?
Yeah. Victor Sierra Lima Alpha X-ray.
So you said get them out of floating rate?
No, not immediately. We're going to dollar cost average out of it.
Right.
But we're going to go towards equity and income, high yield mortgage, corporate mortgage, AMHYX.
So we have the Small Value Fund is the VSCAX, which is the Small Cap Value Fund.
Is it closed or open? Because that fund is closed a lot of times.
I don't know. It's just on my list of.
We'll pull it up here in a minute in the morning, brother.
I'm looking at.
So yeah, go ahead.
So you got a client that has, say, $300,000 in some other fund and 80,000 in another fund and 60,000 in another fund. How do you move a 10 or 20% out of each one of those funds into these funds?
It depends. You can't ignore the fund they're in. What fund are they in currently?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how to pull the rates out. Say that.
Okay, well let's talk about that. If we know that value funds, especially large cap value, will do the best. Those are the ones you're going to move the last. Start pulling from, probably the first, is going to be the floating rate.
Right.
20%, 10-20% at a time.
VSCAX is open.
It is.
And it's kind of on a tear too. Year to date is 19.88.
Yeah. Yeah. So that'll do even better though next year. Because you remember when interest rates are higher, smaller companies have to borrow money at a higher cost, and it's hard for them to make money. So when interest rates come down, these smaller companies are able to borrow the money and have a higher profit rate because they're not paying as much in interest. So these smaller companies will do better. That's why they're undervalued right now. A lot of them are.
I'm kind of curious. Going back to the MEMA fund, is it because you like the blend of equity and income, or why not Comstock? Or
Because well, you can do Comstock with AMHYX.
yeah, and get the blend too.
Because remember, I think the thing that's going to make the most money this year is going to be bonds. Bonds got killed for the last 2 years.
Yeah, they got it.
Okay. They're way undervalued, and you see money flowing back into bonds like crazy. So not only are you going to get the yields of the bonds, but you're going to get the price appreciation of all the money flowing back into that fund.
So like
I think you make 12-13% on a bond fund,
like that ORNAX.
Huh?
The ORNAX, the
Yeah.
Rochester Municipal.
which got killed last year.
Well, the value, the price, so my 250 went down to 210.
Right. But
But it's still paying $1,000 a month.
That's right. So, but I have clients I have some clients I did not move out of that fund. But I have some clients that just were wigging out that they lost whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, so I moved them to the floating rate. The smarter move would have been just to leave them there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But I have wealthy clients that compare their performance to their other buddies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, I have to point out to them that I have clients that when I sit down with them, they tell me they want to be super safe.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I put together a portfolio for them where their accounts to the fluctuating rate.
Right.
Well, they have buddies that put money in equities all over the place.
Yeah, and there.
And they're making more money, and they're wondering why they're not. I say, you told me
That's right.
you didn't want flip. You get to pick one and two. You can't have both.
That's right.
You have consistent return, or you can have volatile return.
Right.
Now, the volatile return will make more money,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to be able to handle a statement that says you have minus 20% sometimes,
That's right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
It could actually be a good time to buy ORNAX because the price is low.
right,
And you're still getting a good yield on it, but you're saying the yields are going to go up as well?
now the yields go down.
Yes.
Yields, but the yield, the yields will come down, but not like they were 5 years ago.
So-
See,
so
the issue we had 5 years ago is bonds had really, really low yields. And there was really no interest in them, right? No one was interested in putting money in them.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year, or a year and a half, when did they start raising rates? When they started raising rates, immediately they started killing the bonds,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Yep. Yeah.
And so now that they're done with that, you're going to see huge amounts of money flowing back in, because that's another thing that's going to happen, is money markets and savings accounts that were paying 3.5% to 5% are now going to be paying 2.5% to 4%. Okay, so people that are making 3.5% to 5% are going to want to move their money somewhere else. Well, bonds that are paying 6 or 7% and they're going up in price are going to be very attractive.
So even though that tax-free bond fund, the price is going to go up, they're going to start paying you less money.
The yield is going to go down.
It's going to go down.
So, but no, a point.
Because I'm using that for my beer drinking money.
Stop drinking beer. We're drinking less beer.
Drink less beer.
Not the cheap.
Well, you know, with the inflation that's going on in our country, I don't know if y'all know this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lot of people
Craft beers.
have traded down from craft beers
Uh-huh.
to the cheaper beers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the craft beer companies are all going out of business.
Mm-hmm.
They're all suffering right now.
Are they really?
Yeah, because you've got like I said, I drive by this United repo lot every morning. United Bank repo lot. And I can tell how the economy's doing based on how that lot's
Yeah,
okay. A year ago, that lot was empty.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 cars in it.
Mm-hmm.
This morning when I drove by there, it was loaded, including 2 tractor trailers or tractors.
Mm-hmm.
The 18-wheeler rigs was in there.
Wow.
And trucks and cars and anything you want is in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that means the average American, a lot of people are having a hard time paying their bills.
Yeah, that's right.
And they said this year, the amount of money going on credit cards that will not be paid off will be the highest ever. So the average American, the middle class, are getting squeezed hard.
Yeah.
And so, but the good news is that as rates come down, that'll make it a little easier on companies to be more profitable. So, and the prices will go down. So the average American will live better. Now, I do believe there's a high percentage chance that in the first 6 months of next year, that we will have a slowdown in our economy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we may not have a recession, but we have a slowdown. I believe the second half of next year will be the part where where the market really does well. So the first half might be slow. Because when they're open power,
ACEIX would be a good fit.
yeah, so ACEIX will kind of cover all your bases.
Mm-hmm.
You won't have to be smart enough to figure out what to do. You just put it in there and we did that for years.
Yes, we did.
Primerica, when Lowell Jackson was out, he was telling us, Primerica was the #1 holder of the investment equity and income fund in the country. Because we knew we could put our clients in that and they'd be fine.
Yeah, when I came on, it was actually 14% a year.
Yeah. Yeah, and it had a low beta, and it's well managed. So it's got 300 different investments in it. And, it's got a long track record. It's 1960 instead of a good return. So it's got a long track record, 10%.
10%.
So we've always said it's a Sherman,
60 years.
it's a Sherman tank of mutual funds. It doesn't go anywhere a little bit fast.
It was the ice cream from your ice cream sundae.
That's right.
It's the
That's
vanilla,
right.
it's put in your class, and then add the.
Vanilla ice cream. You add everything else to it.
That's right.
What about LCAX?
Yeah, LCA it might be pretty good too because that's a dividend paying
LSC.
Yeah, CSF.
that's the convertible. The equity and income has convertibles in it too,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I like the equity because it has corporates,
It's got everything.
it's got treasuries,
Mm-hmm.
it's got convertibles in there, it's got large cap value stocks, so it's done pretty well.
Very diverse.
It's not. It's kind of a bland fund.
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, I think I saw the comment on Morningstar yesterday about ACAX. Let's see what they. I remember it was not a positive comment. It was like Morningstar's comment lacks appeal.
Mm-hmm.
That's their.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not very appealing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very pretty,
Relax again.
right? But
But
it's made already 8.9% this year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying small value is gonna step it up, so the cycle.
Small mid cap value. Yeah.
So the circle of life is coming around.
Yep.
And that means large value is gonna go down.
Large value would be fine. You got to remember this year in the stock market. Last year, 2022, the stock market was down like the tech stocks and things like that were down like 18%. Okay, so even if they go up 20 and 25% this year, that still does not bring you back to where you were.
No.
And there's of the 500 stocks out there, only 7 made money this year. And they're calling them the Magnificent Seven.
Over their lifetime.
No, this year.
Because like American Franchise has been killing it, Comstock's been killing it.
Yeah, let's look at it. No, not until recently did Comstock. Look at let's go to VAFAX, which is get the top holdings of that fund, right? And you'll see that the Magnificent Seven is very well represented in that fund. 39.10% this year. But holdings is fund of holdings. Okay. Yeah. So here's the holding. The number one, the top 5 holdings are Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Google, Apple are the top 5 holdings. And Visa. Good. But those, and Meta, which is another one that we mistake. Those top stocks in this fund are the ones that make all money. Now, Microsoft will outperform and pass Apple, I would believe, in valuation, because they're big on AI. So anyway, but if you look at ACSTX, it made a little bit of money up until last week. It's up 11.05%. Okay, let's look at the performance of this fund. It's up 11.05, and the last month has made 5.8%. It's made half of its return in the last 30 days. And I would bet you it made, in the last week, it's made most of that. Well, it made, well, you can see last week it made 3.13%.
You're going to say it is the overall market's gone from what, 34.7 to 37.5 or something?
37.
10 to 37 in 10 days?
Yeah. So
it blew up.
It did blow up.
So, and it's going to continue for a little while. So let's look at AMHYX. So 8.55% a year, but let's see what it's done in the last. It's up 3.4% in the last 30 days. Let's see what the yield is on it. 9.19% yield. So it's got a great yield, 9.19% yield.
On AMHYX?
Yeah. It's got a great yield where it says investment. Yield to maturity, 9.19. But really what you're going to see happen is the yield on it will go down slightly, but you're going to see the price go way up. Let's look at AFRAX again. So we'll do a lot more mortgages next year too, because now housing will be more affordable because the interest rates will be lower. So you're going to see people buying more houses. And they're still not building that many. This fund has made a 10.96% return. The floating rate has made 10.96%. I said to make 11% this year.
Well, that's 11% for the year, right?
Yep.
So broken down, so you're talking 1% a month?
Oh, well, yeah, 0.9 on average.
Pays the dividend on the last day of every month. What did it do yesterday? Let's see. About 0.08, 0.62 for the week. I got a client that makes $40,000 a month dividend off this fund.
So you got $4 million in it?
No, over $4 million.
Well, you had 5?
The thing that sucks is paying the taxes.
Let me tell you, if you make a lot of money, everything is paid tax. I've been thinking about myself, I'm going to get screwed if I ever touch my own retirement money. And Social Security too.
Let's say you've got a woman and her husband dies.
Oh, you got a woman, you start that sentence off. And you bet it's bad.
And she's got $6, you know, in retirement, and she's got 10 years to get it out.
Not the spouse does not have 10 years.
No, not a spouse.
It's not a spouse.
It's not anybody other than
If she dies, then it goes to the kids.
And
they have 10 years.
It's not even spouse.
No.
Okay, I'm glad to misunderstand that.
Yeah, no, it's your spouse. It goes, it's fine. It's where it passes spouse. So that's why I have all my clients focus on converting as much as they can to
Now,
life.
I think the RMD still goes off of his, there does it roll into her age. If she's
Her age, yeah.
So if they were paying RMD, say he's 5 years older, they were paying RMD, or doing RMD, I shouldn't say paying, but doing RMD.
Yeah.
If he dies, it rolls to her, they stop the RMD until she's 72 or 75 now.
It went up, right?
Yeah.
Went up from 70.5 to 72.
70, now it's doing 73. Eventually, the retirement age is going to be 75.
So does it roll to her at her age?
By the time City Girl here is ready to retire, it's going to be 75. Retirement age. Good news, you get to work longer. Congratulations. You won't be a burden on society for as long.
Hey,
What do you have left to go to SDP?
I'm missing 3 RVPs.
Yeah.
Linda. Go RVP.
I would like to have 3 people step up to be RVPs. But really, nothing changes. And even if I did go to SCP, my income would change. It wouldn't, no. Because,
maxed out.
well, no, because it mainly goes up in life insurance premium. Security's nearly no difference. So, and 90+% of our income is securities life. So it really doesn't, other than the title, that's it. I'm not
It's all about the money.
Huh?
It's all about the money.
Yeah.
Show me the money.
Well, and once you get your RVP contract, you get the majority of the compensation.
Yeah.
Everything is mainly paid to the RVP.
Technically, SVP and SDS, they're RVPs.
Yeah.
With,
A little bit more money for that's why, what's this guy that just went over 5 million?
Willie Neuron.
Okay, Willie Neuron. He has to have 1,000 people to make $1 million. I make 400,000+ a year with 20 people.
A lot less headaches, probably. More.
Just think of that. How many more phone calls would I be having if I had 1,000 agents? Is it worth $600,000? Eventually, I'll go over 600,000 in 2 or 3 years. I'm going to say it again.
Oh, to ACI.
ACIX.
You're going to move floating rate people into ACIX and possibly a little small value.
My more aggressive clients that want to make a little bit more money, right? The ones that probably are not taking much money, either not taking systematic withdrawals, I'll start moving them for probably 10% of their money into small cap and large and mid cap equity.
Do you set it up where they take it out of
The best performing investment.
the best performing investment? Do you like sell, say if they're taking $1,000 a month, do you sell $12,000 and put it into the money market, let the money market suck it out, or
No.
do you just pull $1,000 a month out of that fund?
$1,000 out of that fund. Like a lot of my clients are getting a monthly check off floating rate. I pick up the phone and say,
Because you're Eric Hoffman.
put my client on a systematic withdrawal on the first of each month and do not hold taxes. See how all this gray hair, see that bald spots up here? There's a reason why that's the case. It's called cortisol. You know what cortisol is?
No.
Stress hormone. Really? Y'all don't know that?
No.
Do you know what cortisol is? Okay. Cortisol
Your fat storing hormone.
is for women. It's the best. Yeah. Yeah. Also, I have to work out just to keep from being fat because of stress I have to go through when Primerica decides, hey, we're going to stop doing with business TD Ameritrade, and our clients going to need to go over Pershing, and it doesn't matter that you have $15, $20 million in assets, and the money has to start being moved over by September 1st. And we really don't have a system in place to have you get all that done. So you got to figure it out. And your clients going to be yelling at you why you didn't get their money this month. So this is called cortisol. You lose your hair, and the only way to fix it is to eat a lot of red meat. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, because you got to increase the amount of protein, red meat, animal protein will help it grow back. Because the first thing your body does when it starts getting stressed out is it burns through, it produces cortisol, which eats up the stuff that produces the hair.
So back on that. So why do you take it from the best performing and not the worst performing?
Because the worst performing investments were the equity investments. Well, they weren't doing well last year. So I wanted to let them have time to recover and start making money, which is what they're going to start doing.
Yeah.
Then I'll reduce what I'm taking from the floating rate and start taking a more proportional percentage from the equity choices. Because I don't want to pull down. something's going down, you don't want to keep pulling money from it. It's only going to make it go down even faster.
Yeah, it's, I mean, those low, so high, right?
Yeah, so you want to take from what's making the most.
Because you're selling it while it's high.
Yeah, and then you, when this other stuff starts doing well again, then you reduce what you take from that and you increase what you take from the other more proportionally, which is really the best way to go. But because, let me tell you, between COVID and the screwed up low interest market and the way the government has handled the handling of their money has sucked. Okay? And the only people that are paying the price is we the people. So in our job is to try to navigate that. And I was telling one of my clients the other day, I said, my job is a lot like being an airline pilot. When the skies are blue and there's no wind, it looks like I'm way overpaid.
Right. Yeah.
Right? For what I do. But when things start falling apart and things aren't working right, you want a guy that's sitting in that seat that knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And knows it. Because I'll bet you, if you ask 20 financial advisors to tell you what a floating rate investment was, they could not do it. Out of the 20, you might get 2. Because most, and I always tell my clients, most advisors are lazy. And the only reason I know that is I look at the stuff they put their clients in. And they just throw in stuff. They don't think about it.
So are all floating rate funds the same? I mean,
Yeah, that works the same.
they're all senior loan?
Yeah. Because you know how I know that? Because I have a lot of clients that work at Delta, and I get them in or at a company, at Fidelity, a 401k that has Fidelity in it, and I help them get into the brokerage league, and then what I do is I've been putting them in the Fidelity floating rate fund, which has not done as well as the investment fund, but still done well.
I talked to a lady last week, and she had done a rollover when she transferred her job. She's a Delta person.
Okay.
I think she said she rolled over like $100,000.
Okay.
And whoever she rolled it out, I can't remember who it was, rolled her, and they put her into an IUL.
Really?
Yeah, I just shook my head. She said, she looked at me and she said, why? I said,
I got a text yesterday.
Why?
They got
It's a retirement rollover. What the?
How would you do? I don't even know. Is that legal?
I don't know.
I don't know if they get you to sign.
Well, it might be that she put her in a
Probably
index annuity.
Index universal life annuity policy.
Yeah.
Something.
But I got a text yesterday from one of my clients, a young client, that said, I hear that IUL policies are better than having a term policy.
Of course you.
I read somewhere that IULs.
Was this a Delta person? Oh, okay. Because I wonder if they're starting to spread this kind of word Delta.
It's the same. We've been putting up with the same dumb crap.
Yep.
My whole career.
With a different name.
They change the names every 10 years, and also it's spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
You know why spectacular? The profits through the products are spectacular. The companies that sell it make huge amounts of money, and the agents that sell it make huge amounts of money. The only person that gets screwed is the person that buys it.
True. I was reading Coach, and Art wanted to beat Prudential, and finally did. And he was prompting the whole like we beat Prudential. We said, no, you didn't. We sold this much premium last year. And Art's going, oh, you took this much money from your client. You did not give them this much protection. We went,
yeah, that's right.
That's the way they operate.
Yeah, and so IULs is index universal life. You know, and when I first got in this business, Money Magazine and all these were touting how great variable universal life was.
Oh yeah.
Believe that?
Oh yeah.
I was having to compete. Clients would show me their Money Magazine articles, how Money was telling them that they should put their money in variable universal life policies.
Let me do that.
The life insurance industry has a huge lot. Huge lot. They can make anybody believe anything.
Pretty much.
And so, and really, MetLife, a bunch of these companies got in huge amounts of trouble. Equitable, MetLife, all the companies we sell variable annuities for now used to be big sellers of whole universal and variable life insurance, but they got killed in lawsuits and all this other stuff for lying to the clients. MetLife got in huge trouble. They were down in Florida selling to nurses, of all things, universal life policies as investments.
Yep.
Wow, they got killed in that lawsuit.
Well, I'm having a clear moment. What was the company that had the rock and Gibraltar?
Prudential.
Did a piece of the rock.
Get a piece of the rock.
Well, remember?
I remember those.
When we were growing up.
It's a piece of the heaven.
Remember when we were growing up? The Prudential halftime report.
Oh,
When you watch a football game,
Oh, yeah.
you'd see the Prudential halftime report,
Yeah.
right? Because they had the money to spend on something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that show growing up.
That's a good show. That was
What was that old man that was
Marlon Perkins.
Marlon Perkins, and he'd have this younger guy out there
Yeah.
wrestling like Anaconda.
Yeah, that young guy.
Look at Jim going to water.
He sure can hold his breath for a long time. That Anaconda sure has been a big fight.
Yeah. Jim just died a few weeks ago, by the way.
Did he really?
He made it into his night, despite
Wow.
Marlon sending him, go catch me for all.
Yeah, because Musical Omaha, Wild Kingdom would come on in Texas, and then right after that, The Wonderful World of Disney would come on right after that. So I'd watch both shows. Yeah.
Sunday night at 7, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. That was one of my favorite times to watch. I like both those shows. What Disney World is, no human would want to ever be.
It was
It was a malaria-infested swamp. They built the park with it.
Well-
The whole world wants to go there. You know, originally, that they looked at Jackson, Georgia, was one of the sites they looked at. Yeah. Now, with the high yield municipal bond funds, not only you can get a still pretty decent yield, but the share price is going to go way up. So you'll get the capital gain. This is how you present the equity and income fund to a client. This brochure was put together by my buddy. Yeah, this is known as the quilt chart because it looks like another quilt, right? These dark blue boxes are the performance of the equity and income fund. So you can see, this is the equity and income fund. This is the top performing sector. This is the worst performing sector in the sector, right?
It's always in the middle.
It's always in the middle. It doesn't go, I always tell you, clients, it doesn't go for home runs. It goes for base hits. Never going to be the number one performing investment.
Right.
But it also, though, is never going to be the dog.
That's right.
Okay? Keeps you right in the center.
It's got 2 years where it made 24%.
Yep. So the bottom line is this is not an exciting fund. Okay? But your clients don't want exciting when they're thinking about their money, right? So this is a get rich slow plan.
Exactly. That's brilliant.
So, and one of the things I want to show you that's pretty interesting about this is watch this. Watch how typically the market works. What's the number one performing investment here in 2009?
Government bond.
Okay, that was number one. What was the worst performing investment in 2009? No.
Oh, the government bond.
The very next year.
Yeah, like government bond. Right.
Yeah. And then the next year, it's high yield bonds, right?
Yeah.
2009. Where's high yield bonds the year after that?
Let's see, that's yeah.
Okay, it didn't go down.
Right.
Okay, but typically, the number one performing investment one year is the dog the next year. So I always like to point that out on this fund and keep it in the middle of the ups and downs. Okay, so go to the next. These guys, I know, I go, well, every time I just won the Hawaii trip. And I know I'll see him on the Hawaii trip.
Who's that?
Sergio.
Okay.
He's on all the American trips. Anyway, he's good. So anyway, when you invest in a mutual fund, these guys are your portfolio managers. Okay, they get paid based on how the fund does. Okay, no, they manage the portfolio. Okay, they have a vested interest that the fund does well. What separates Invesco from other fund families is their bonus money is paid into the fund they manage. So they're forced to eat their own cooking. Okay?
I wish Congress had to do that.
Yeah, I know. There's lots of things we wish government would have to do. I wish there were term limits more than anything. So, but these guys, their job is to make sure, and to take the money, billions of dollars that comes in this fund, and invest it where they think is appropriate for this particular fund. Okay. So you can see that the top holdings in this fund are Citigroup, Philip Morris, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, General Dynamics, Goldman Sachs, Johnson Johnson, and so forth, right? But even the largest position in this fund, okay, is Citigroup, and that represents 2.13% of the money. So it's a little teeny piece, right? And so I'll say, the wisest man of the Bible, the report about is King Solomon. In Ecclesiastes 11:2, King Solomon says, "Divide your fortunes into 7, no 8, for you do not know what disaster might hit the land." Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? And so when you put your money in a mutual fund, you're buying a lot of different baskets. Okay, and even the largest position is only going to have about 2% of your money in. Okay, so if you had $100 and Citigroup in here, and Citigroup goes out of business, you're going to have 98. Right here, when I show this to my client, I said, "Do you know what a beta is?" Beta tells you how risky something is compared to the market. Okay, the stock market, the S&P 500 is always 1. Okay, so if you invest in an investment that's 1, that means you're as aggressive as the S&P 500. This, over the last 25 years, has had a 0.68 beta. Wow. So it's 32% less risky than the stock market to invest in this fund. Even the last couple of years, it's in the 80s, still about 20% less than invest in the stock market.
What's the alpha?
But it's outperformed the stock market for since 1960. Okay, so it has a lower risk, but rate of return. This fund started in 1960. And if you would put $10,000 in this fund in 1960, October 1960, let's look at all the 10,000. Let's look at all the bad things that happened in our economy, or some bad things. In 1961, the East Berlin Wall went up. Was that good news or bad news? Kennedy assassinated, and then Martin Luther King was assassinated. Right? So it's that bad things happened, right? So your 10,000 by 1970 is worth how much? So you put $10,000 in, and 10 years later, even though it had a lot of bad news, it's worth $25,000. So you more than doubled your money. Okay. Then, from 1970 to 1980, what happened? Well, in 1972, we had the Watergate scandal. I remember that. I was in 2nd grade. And then we had President Nixon resign not long after that. The Vietnam War ended in 1975. That was a peaceful time. And then in 1979, we had a USSR invade Afghanistan. And then while we're still doing the same stuff, 50 years later. Okay, so by 1980, how much is your $10,000 worth?
53.7.
So it doubled again. So what happened from 80 to 2000 to 90? Well, we had, in 1983, we had unemployment rate at 9.7%. We had the Iran-Contra affair. We had the stock market crash 22% in one day. And so by 1990, how much is your $10,000 worth?
$193,000.
Okay, and then you go from 1990 to 2000. What happened? Well, we had the Gulf War start in 91. Then we had the stock market crash in the Asian stock market crash in 1997. By 2000, how much money is your $10,000 worth? $905,000.
Yeah.
Your $10,000 worth $905,000
In 40 years.
Yep. But it's been doubling every 10 years, at least doubling. So, and then by today, what's the value as of what's the latest value? That's $2,972,000 by 2019. So I show this, and I'll tell you the other one I like is go to the Shepherd story. But they take it out, they put it in and take it out at the wrong time. They still do well.
There you go.
Right there. The Shepherds, who are here in Atlanta, by the way, they put $100,000 in this fund in 1972. We had a tremendous recession in 73 and 74. So this picture this, I always tell my clients, you put $100,000 in here, you're going to start taking 4.5% out every year. So let's see what happens. So $100,000 in 1972, they take the sales charge off the top. So now you only have $96,500. Then you take $4,500 out. That's paid, right? Then the market goes down. By 1974, how much money is your $100,000 worth?
$64,798.
So let's say you invest $100,000 with me in 1972, and you get your statement, and it shows you have $64,000 in there. How you feeling at this point?
Math.
You're mad at Eric. You're using all kinds of bad words about me, right? Okay. But then what happens? Well, we kept going, right? So, as a matter of fact, it took until 1982 for your $100,000 to be back worth over $100,000. Took 10 years. But you're drawing money out the whole time, right? So, from 1972, by 2019, you're taking $17,528 a year out. But your account is worth how much money? $2,679,000. So you put in $100,000, right? How much money did you take out?
$451,784.
But you got $2.6 million left.
Should have been taking out more.
Yeah, you could have increased it a lot.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the point is, and we went through a lot of bad stuff during that period. So if you go with a 4.5% or 5% withdrawal rate in a good portfolio like this, your money will keep going up.
Average annual return, 9.79%.
Yep.
That's pretty good to compensate for those first few years of loss.
Yeah. But here's the thing that your clients, not all your clients are going to understand about being a financial advisor, that you do not control the economy. So the job is to do the best you can in the situation you're in, and it's very easy to Monday morning quarterback what your advisor does.
That's true.
Okay, well you should have done this. Well, the whole world thought we were going to go into a recession next year, and there's reasons why we didn't do that. It's like you watch a football game. Did y'all watch a Georgia game? Have you ever watched a football game where there was a receiver that was wide open that the quarterback never threw a ball to? You know why he didn't throw that ball to? He had a guy in his face that was fixing to take it down. If you have a guy in your face, you don't always see everything, right? If you're trying not to get tackled, you're not going to see everything else. And only the people sitting at home can see that guy's wide open. So you're not going to always get it right. But your job is to do the best you can with what you have. Right? Yeah, let's look at scenario 1, which is a very popular scenario. Someone puts $100,000 in a CD, and they draw the interest that CD makes off. That's pretty neat. So at the end of the time, they drew whatever return the average annual CD made off. So they drew out $46,340. They still have their $100,000, right? But if they would have put the same money in the equity and income fund and drew out the same amount of money, they would have 2.5 times more money in the account. The next one to the right is you put $100,000 in a CD, and then you proceed to take 4.5% out a year. So after doing that, you would have drawn out $120,000, but your CD would now be worth $18,975. So how would you feel about that? You start with $100,000, you took out $120,000, and only have not even $20,000 left over. But if you took the same money for the equity and income fund, take 4.5% out, you would have drawn out. You took out the same amount of money, $120,000, but you'd have $132,822 left.
Be a lot happier about that.
Now, what's good about this? Let me point out why this illustration is really good. From 2000 to 2010 is known as the lost decade. It was hard to make any money in the stock market during that period. So even with the worst decade in U.S. history on this chart, you still did way better than anything else. If you look at in 1999, the CDE rate was 5.4%.
Yeah.
2000, 6.58%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then in 2007, it was 5.2,
Mhm.
2006.
Mhm.
But all the other ones have ones and zeros in front.
That's right, yeah.
You know, the part I didn't know, scenario 2 is you're taking out 4.5% of the year, plus you're giving yourself a 3% raise
Mhm.
every year. That's a really realistic scenario.
Update.
Now, let's look at the very back page of this. Okay, so you can see it shows a 3-year beta, 0.83. Look how many different securities are in this one fund.
Mm-hmm.
368. But now in the middle investment categories, you can see you have domestic stocks,
Mm-hmm.
international stocks, corporate bonds, international corporate bonds, convertible bonds, international corporate bonds, domestic convertible preferred stocks, government bonds, domestic preferred stocks, and cash. This is a good little piece right here. The stock market right now is trading historically at a 18 PE. Sometimes it gets in the 20s. And some of the stocks are way up, like right now. What's one of the ones that's doing really well? Nvidia or Facebook, which is Meta. And tell me what the PE ratio is on those stocks. Amazon, Tesla. Do you know what PE means?
It means how much you take the earnings divided by the stock price and you get the ratio.
Right. Price earnings ratio. Yeah. So it's trading at 13 times price earnings. Whereas what's
Tesla's 81.4.
okay, there you go.
Whoa.
Okay, what's Apple?
32.
Which is not usually out of, but still really high.
So 20 to 25 is good.
16 to 18 is historically where the market
And
trades.
so ACEX is at 13, so it's excellent.
Yeah, it's below average PE ratio. But some stocks, like where's Amazon with
As of December 15th, 77.7. So it's over. It's just
way
overvalued. Way overvalued.
Well, and that's the thing. Sometimes these stocks go up
Wow.
in price, and you can't justify it.
It was 245 earlier this year.
Yeah, it came way down.
Mm-hmm.
Nvidia, what's Nvidia at? That's the one that killed it this year. Nvidia.
61, 65.
So that's the thing is, people. I've had clients say, "Well, I'm going to buy Apple, or I'm going to buy Tesla, or I'm going to buy Nvidia stock," and you can make money, but you're betting against yourself because it should not be trading at that level.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's so popular,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
It's a bandwagon stock.
well, the other thing that figures into PE ratio is actually the PEG ratio. PE,
I don't know what that is.
PEG is price earnings or growth 3 years. What's the growth rate of the company? If you have a high growth rate that can justify a higher PE, then that's better.
Okay.
The problem I have, I believe, here's my prediction, that Apple will do poorly over the next 10 years. You know how popular Apple is right now? It will not be that popular in 10 years. Matter of fact, it won't be that popular in 3 years.
Well,
You know why? When's the last time Apple's came up with a new product?
yeah. No lie.
Remember when Tim Cook was alive? Or was it
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Remember when he was alive?
Yeah.
What made Apple Apple?
Those were always popping out.
They had the Apple Watch, they had the iWatch, they had the iPod, they had the iPad, they had the iPhone, and then not only did that, it got not just a little. Right now, when you get an upgrade on an iPhone, the only difference is the phone, the camera's just a little bit better than it was last time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before, it was a big jump.
Yeah.
The battery life was going to be this much longer, or this is going to be. I mean, there's big improvements, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming new products. They haven't had a new product in a long time.
Yeah.
So what's happening is it's no longer a growing company; it's a maturing company. And so whenever a company matures,
Becomes a value stock.
huh?
Becoming a value
Yeah,
stock.
it becomes now they're loaded with cash. They have $200 billion in cash.
Really?
Yeah, they have more cash than most countries have.
Yeah.
Wow.
But all that cash doesn't do anything for you.
Well, that's deflating.
Yeah. So the thing is, but I do believe Microsoft will screen past Apple.
Because they're doing AI so much heavier.
They're way ahead of everybody else on the AI. But see, there for a while, the same thing happened to Microsoft. Back in the 80s, when Bill Gates was going, Microsoft was killing it, right? Because what? Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows 2000, whatever. They're coming up with these new versions of Windows all the time, and the whole world was using Windows. Still are, right? Yeah, but when's the last time we've heard any significant improvement on Windows?
Not since they got rid of Internet Explorer, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
A year ago.
So but now they've reinvented themselves to go to the next frontier.
Like Kodak doing prescription drugs or off-brand drugs.
Yeah. So now they go to AI, which is a product that everybody's interested in.